Chapter 16. "Now there's a pair who'll soon be begging for mercy," Tony Clark said with a grin as she passed through. Sean looked up and grunted, and went back to polishing the boot with renewed aggression. He was with Shitey Bright and Chewy West in the common area outside their rooms in barracks, cleaning kit. It was good aggression therapy. It was Tuesday, 3 days after his formal resignation from Heaton's little operation. He'd just about come down from his fury. Unfortunately, it returned a little whenever he saw the corporal, which, as they were in the same platoon, was several times a day. Meanwhile, Heaton just ignored him like he used to. So you could say their relationship was back to what it used to be. And Sean still had the 500 from the first drop safely in the bank. Shit, sometimes you just had to know when a deal was done and walk away. He hadn't lied to Heaton. He had never grasped, and he didn't intend to start now. His only problem now was finding another source of cash. But still, being monumentally pissed off does not just go away. Being stuck in Heaton's company for most of the afternoon hadn't helped. He had been for a good long run when he got off duty, booted feet pounding the perimeter road until he was hot and sweaty and exhausted. Still in the same T-shirt and the MTP trousers, he'd hurled himself into the next essential task before he allowed himself the luxury of relaxation, and that was kit maintenance. After that first day of agony back in the gym at Burnley, Sean had gone back for more without a second thought. The bullshit of cleaning kit once he got to Catterick had almost been enough to make him walk. Wasn't he there to shoot guns at the nation's enemies? Did it matter what state his uniform was in? You what? But my boots are polished. Sorry? You want me to pick the dirt out of the tread with tweezers and you're pissing me, right? Oh shit, you're serious. But it had got into him, soaking in like polish into leather. You didn't do this because some twat of a Rupert just out of public school told you to. Though that seemed to be a pretty good reason to some of the real twats. You did it out of respect for your regiment, for your colleagues, for yourself. If you couldn't keep your kit serviceable in camp, then once you're in the field, you wouldn't be able to function. He went back to his boots. 2 brushes. One to put polish on, one to take it off. For the polish itself, black kiwi, except no substitutes. For bulling the leather, a yellow duster that had been washed and tumbled a few times. For getting rid of the dirt first, an old toothbrush. He knew the ritual off by heart. Keep it all in a drawstring bag so you've always got it to hand. And to keep the polish off the floor, an old newspaper. The sun could always be relied on to give you something decent to look at while you worked. So after all that cleaning, how'd you fancy getting a bit dirty? Sean looked up at her from under his eyebrows, ignoring the way West was doing pelvic thrusts under the table. He wasn't remotely taken in by the innuendo, not with the big grin on Clark's face. And he was pretty sure he hadn't totally misunderstood their relationship. "How dirty?" he asked carefully. "Dirty as in you and me getting under the bonnet of the Cosworth. Still pinking between 60 and 65. I can't shake it. I just got it back from the garage, but no, Joyce, I'd appreciate your input, and this time you actually get a ride. You look as though you could do with cheering up." Despite his determination to hang on to his foul temper, Sean couldn't help grinning. Shit, he had a good mate in Tony Clark. Maybe it was time to put Heaton down to experience and get on with the rest of his life. Shit, yeah. She grinned and ruffled his hair. She was the one member of the platoon who could get away with it. "Cool, I've got some things to do first. Meet at 2000. I'll be at the gatehouse." She gave him a wink as she left. "Hey, Stenders," West called across the table. "You'll let us know how many rides you get in the Cosworth, right?" He and Bright bumped fists at the joke. Sean rolled his eyes. "Guys, a car is seriously uncomfortable unless you've totally got nowhere else to go. The seats are so narrow, you're afraid of falling off, and it's so cramped, one of you's going to bang your head on the roof or a window, whatever happens." He went back to his polishing, innocently not meeting their looks, fully aware that they were staring at him. Experience? Bright asked eventually. Sean let it hang for a couple more seconds, before modestly admitting. Experience. Nice one, Stenders, West shouted. And you owe me a $5, he added to Bright. Sean left barracks at 19:55 with a spring in his step. It was a warm, sunny August evening. His good mood was only dented a little when he noticed Heaton coming down the pavement towards him. The corporal had his eyes glued to the screen of his phone. Harker, he grunted as they passed. Corp, Sean acknowledged, and Heaton walked on. The gatehouse was ahead. He could see the red splash of the Cosworth parked outside, next to the severe warning. Tony was leaning against it, chatting to a guard. She saw him coming and gave him a wave. The barrier was up to let a small convoy of military vehicles through. At the front was a Foxhound, a truck only slightly less fuck-off now than the Warrior, designed for Afghanistan, apparently by getting a Land Rover and a Humvee to screw and then rolling the baby in armour plating. Gaz would have sold his soul to get his hands on one. Behind it were a couple of troop carriers, the trusty 4x4 Leyland 4-tonners. The canvas hoods in the rear were open, and each truck was loaded with getting on for 20 soldiers and all their kit. Probably coming back off exercise, knackered, dirty and starving, Sean thought, happy at that moment that he wasn't one of them. He broke into a jog to catch up with Clark. Just in time to see the explosion that ripped through the guardhouse and enveloped the convoy in flames.